Everyone is warmly welcome today again to our Real Insight YouTube channel. The best series created so far about a terrifying serial killer is the Korean series called Mouse. So, I have brought 8 episodes of this series so far. For those who haven't watched the previous episodes, I have put the card for the Mouse playlist above. Similarly, I have also put the links for the past episodes in the description below. Definitely watch those videos before coming to watch the 9th episode I'm about to do today. In the previous episode, you saw at the end Baaram went to meet Dr. Han. Right there, Baaram found out exactly that it was Dr. Han himself who operated on his brain when he was injured. Baaram finally learned that Dr. Han had already transplanted Son Yoo-han's brain into him. Why exactly was such a thing done? What does Dr. Han expect from it? You can find answers to these questions, as well as answers to many other questions within this story through today's episode. So if you still haven't subscribed to our Real Insight YouTube channel, definitely press the red button below and subscribe right now. And don't forget to click the bell icon next to it. Then let's go see what happened in the 9th episode of this superb series. Right as today's episode begins, it shows Baaram sending Bong-yi a photo of Dr. Han. After sending Dr. Han's photo, Bong-yi confirms that Dr. Han performed Baaram's operation. After confirming that, Baaram didn't just go straight to Dr. Han, he went after thoroughly investigating the murders committed by Dr. Han, also known as the Head Hunter. You might remember in the very first episode, I mentioned that the Head Hunter marks a specific code on the finger of everyone he kills. Did you wonder at that time what that code meant? At this point, Baaram investigates this thoroughly. You might remember right at the beginning of this series, that young woman named Sun was killed. Her body was found in the sea by a swimming training team. I'll take the code found on that girl's finger as an example now. It was F-517-6. Baaram has thoroughly investigated what that code means. Baaram discovers at this point that the letter F represents female, meaning the first letter indicates whether the person killed is female or male. After that, there's the number 25. Upon investigating that, Baaram finds out exactly that it represents the age of the person killed. Then there's 17 sex. Initially, Baaram finds it difficult to figure that out. However, Baaram reads an article at this time. That article mentions that when mice are subjected to experiments, their ears are pierced. Additionally, Baaram notices at the top of that article that the phrase subject experiment or test subject is shortened. The term subject experiment itself is abbreviated as sex. From this, Baaram figures out exactly that 17 sex represents which number victim this is for Dr. Han or the Head Hunter. 17 sex means, as you might understand now, that this represents the 17th person killed by Dr. Han or the Head Hunter for an experiment. Now, this article mentioned that after a mouse is used for these experiments, its ear is pierced to identify it as having undergone the experiment. In the exact same way, Baaram discovers at this point that Dr. Han, or the Head Hunter, has pierced the finger where the code was marked on everyone he killed. But now, Baaram really needs to know what experiment Dr. Han was trying to conduct by killing people with such difficulty. It's after this that Baaram goes to meet Dr. Han. By this time, Baaram has already started recalling some of Son Yoo-han's memories. That's why Baaram guessed at this point that Dr. Han must have transplanted Son Yoo-han's brain into him. And at this moment, Dr. Han confirms that this is exactly correct. Dr. Han tells Baaram at this time, "I was the one who performed your operation. It's because of me that you are living like this now." But actually, Baaram is very angry now because what's inside Baaram's brain now is Son Yoo-han's brain, or rather, the brain of a serial killer. That's why Baaram is furious at this moment because of what Dr. Han did. You might remember after Son Yoo-han attacked Baaram, Baaram's frontal lobe was damaged. Actually, people's memories are stored in this frontal lobe. After Bong-yi went and killed Son Yoo-han, Dr. Han transplanted Son Yoo-han's frontal lobe into Baaram's brain. That is why Baaram has started recalling certain memories like this. Not only that, but you might now understand the reason why Baaram changed after this operation. So after learning about all these things, Baaram becomes quite distressed. Baaram then comes out from there. At this time, we are shown from the side that a certain person is spying on Baaram. This person calls someone at this time and says something like, Baaram seems to know everything. He's in shock now. Who this person is and who this person called, you will understand as you continue watching this series. Meanwhile, we are shown that Kumuchi is currently in prison. You might remember, it was discovered that Jae-pil committed the murder of Detective Park's daughter. Detective Park's wife went and killed Jae-pil, but Kumuchi went there. Kumuchi then went to prison for a crime he didn't commit. Because what Kumuchi needs now is, never mind if it's for a crime he didn't commit, to go to prison and kill Dr. Han, also known as the head hunter, who is in prison. Because it was the head hunter who killed Kumuchi's mother and father. Therefore, we are shown at this time that Kumuchi is in prison. We can find out in today's episode itself what kind of things Kumuchi will do going forward inside the prison. Let's see what happens next. Meanwhile, we are shown Dr. Han, after talking with Baaram, having returned to his prison cell. Right at this moment, we are shown Dr. Han remembering his past. Now, listen carefully to the story I'm about to tell. Now, you can figure out exactly why the serial killer known as the head hunter emerged. At this time, Dr. Han remembers an incident from his past. Even in his youth, Dr. Han worked as a doctor. Even then, Dr. Han was conducting an experiment. The experiment Dr. Han was trying to do was connecting the brain of a dead person to the brain of a living person. Precisely because of those experimental activities, a patient Dr. Han was operating on at the time had died at his hands. A doctor in this hospital named Gary knows that Dr. Han intentionally killed that patient in that manner. Dr. Gary went to meet Dr. Han and scolded him, saying, "I know everything you are doing. Don't think I will hide this and keep my mouth shut forever. I will definitely tell everyone about this." So, after Dr. Gary came and scolded him like this, Dr. Han felt the need to completely remove Dr. Gary from this situation. Meanwhile, a very important incident occurred inside this hospital. There was a young woman in this hospital who couldn't walk since the age of 5 due to a cerebral disorder. So just imagine being unable to walk since age 5. How many years must this girl have been bedridden? After going into that patient's room, Dr. Han saw that this young woman had a type of medicine called levodopa in her hand. This young woman has a cerebral disorder. Levodopa is not a type of medicine given for that condition. Therefore, Dr. Han asked this young woman, "Who gave you this medicine?" After that, Dr. Han found out that it was a cleaner working in this hospital who had given this levodopa medicine to this girl. Then we are shown Dr. Han gathering all the doctors, intending to give a significant explanation about that young woman. This young woman has been bedridden for years because she cannot walk due to her cerebral disorder. But at this moment, Dr. Han makes this young woman stand up and walk, showing everyone. So the other doctors are also very surprised to see this. At this time, Dr. Han directly levels the accusation at Dr. Gary because it was Dr. Gary who diagnosed this young woman as having a cerebral disorder since age 5. But now it's very clear that diagnosis was wrong. Dr. Han also tells the other doctors this young woman has a rare medical condition, but Dr. Gary misdiagnosed her and gave her the wrong medication for years. But I gave this patient the medicine called levodopa, and because of that medicine, this young woman walked today, as you saw. But the person who had given this levodopa medicine to this young woman was a hospital worker. Can you guess who that worker was? That worker was none other than the Professor Lee we all know. Professor Lee worked in this hospital in those days. Actually, Professor Lee was just a worker in this hospital at that time. Therefore, from here on, I will just say Lee. After that, Dr. Han followed Lee to see who this Lee really was. You might remember Lee had a younger sister, Jennifer. It was Jennifer whom Dr. Han later married. Jennifer also had the cerebral disorder condition. But actually, Lee was someone who, while working at the hospital, had studied medical science well. Lee's dream was to one day reach the top in this medical field. Therefore, while working at this hospital, Lee had been carrying out studies on all these things. Somehow, Lee had started his experimental work with his own sister. Lee had given that levodopa medicine to his sister who had the cerebral disorder and checked the results. Actually, Lee had become successful because of that. Lee's sister, Jennifer, had reached a state where she could barely walk by now because of that medicine. Dr. Han found out about that by following Lee. At the meeting where Dr. Han gathered all the doctors, he also gave Lee the credit he deserved at that moment. Dr. Han stated that it was the man named Lee, working right here in this hospital, who had given the levodopa medicine to this young woman. It is because of the medicine given by that man that this girl walked even this much today. Actually, what Dr. Han wanted was neither to make this girl walk nor to give Lee the credit he deserved. It was to completely remove Dr. Gary from this hospital. Because Dr. Gary knew that someone had died at Dr. Han's hands, that Dr. Han did it intentionally because of an experiment he was conducting. Because of this incident, Dr. Han succeeded. Dr. Gary was removed from the hospital. After this, even if Dr. Gary revealed the secret about Dr. Han, others would think he was saying such things out of anger towards Dr. Han. Now, inside this hospital, Lee was no longer just anybody, he had become a very important figure. However, because of this incident, Lee received a scholarship from another university to advance and succeed in his studies. Lee came to meet Dr. Han to tell him about it. Dr. Han was already in his secret lab. It was Dr. Han who had told Lee to come meet him there. When Lee arrived at the laboratory, he asked Dr. Han, "What kind of experiment are you actually doing here?" Dr. Han proudly replied, "What I am trying to do is connect the brain of a dead person to the brain of a living person, like the work of a god." He added that since God can bring the dead back to life, if these experiments succeeded, he would become like a god. Then Dr. Han asked Lee, "What are you planning to do?" Lee replied, "I am trying to find out where the good genes are and research them, because I want to transform this world into a good place without wars and crimes." Upon hearing this, Dr. Han told Lee, "Why don't you do it this way? Just find the bad genes. If you find a method to destroy those bad genes, you can automatically filter out the good genes." Lee thought that was a good idea and took it seriously. After that, using the scholarship, Lee proceeded with his studies. Dr. Han quietly went his own way, but then, we are shown an incident happening years later. Dr. Han saw on TV that Lee was no longer just anyone. He had now become Professor Lee. Professor Lee had discovered a way to find psychopathic genes and destroy them. You might remember I mentioned that at the beginning of this series. But actually, Dr. Han's experiment had completely failed by this time. He tried hard using mice to make this experiment successful, but now, seeing that Professor Lee had succeeded, Dr. Han felt jealous of Professor Lee. What Dr. Han wanted now was to make his own experiment successful, just like Professor Lee had. Directly after this, Dr. Han started using humans for this experiment. It's after that Dr. Han became the serial killer known as the Headhunter. Actually, Dr. Han had succeeded in his brain experiments before being caught. Before Dr. Han was caught by the police, you remember he killed Kumuchi's mother and father. After those murders, through Kumuchi, the police identified Dr. Han as the headhunter and arrested him. You might remember at one point in this series, I mentioned Professor Lee receiving a parcel containing a mouse. Upon seeing that mouse, the professor gets scared. Can you guess what actually happened there? That mouse was sent by Dr. Han himself. That was how Dr. Han informed Professor Lee that his experiments were successful. Then we are shown Baaram currently in Dr. Han's secret lab. Dr. Han has also told Baaram about the lab. Baaram goes into this lab, and while inspecting the place, he finds a hairband used by little girls to tie their hair. What Baaram will discover next from this hairband, we will see in a little while. So, meanwhile, you might have a question. Dr. Han is a prisoner sentenced to death. How did he come to the hospital and perform Baaram's operation? Baaram has also asked Dr. Han about that. Dr. Han then told the truth. After Son Yu-han attacked Baaram was in a very critical condition. Before his operation, the Prime Minister of Korea had summoned Dr. Han. There was a significant reason for this. The presidential election in Korea was scheduled to be held in just a few days. In such an atmosphere, the Prime Minister realized that if anything happened to Baaram, who had become a hero among the people, it would strongly affect the presidential election. Therefore, the Prime Minister of Korea needed to save Baaram's life. It was because that operation needed to be done that the Prime Minister of Korea summoned Dr. Han, even though he was a prisoner. When the Prime Minister of Korea asked Dr. Han to perform this operation, Dr. Han initially refused. Dr. Han asked what he would receive in return. Then the Prime Minister asked Dr. Han what he wanted. Then Dr. Han directly asked for his freedom. However, the Prime Minister of Korea did not agree to that. Then, as Dr. Han was about to turn and leave, the Prime Minister of Korea pleaded with him, begging him to definitely perform the operation. Right after that, Dr. Han suddenly agreed to perform the operation. It was after this that Dr. Han came to the hospital like this and directly connected Son Yu-han's frontal lobe to Baaram's brain. Baaram learned about all these things and has now gone to meet the Prime Minister of Korea. The Prime Minister of Korea tells Baaram about all this. But actually, now the Prime Minister of Korea also has one question. Dr. Han is a psychopath. So even being such a psychopath, why did Dr. Han suddenly agree to perform this operation? You will understand the reason for that as you continue watching this series. You might have another question. How did the Prime Minister of Korea know that Dr. Han had successfully carried out such brain-related experiments? Let me explain the reason for that now. When Dr. Han was conducting these experiments in his secret lab, he video recorded everything in those days. Choi sent one such videotape to the Prime Minister of Korea. You might be thinking now, how did Choi know about Dr. Han's secret lab and send a video from there to the Prime Minister? Actually, by now you know that years ago, when they were young, Choi and the head hunter, or rather Dr. Han, together killed that young woman named Zoe. You might remember that Choi was the one who brought that young woman there, saying she had an accident with her father on the road. From that itself, we understand that Choi is not as simple a character as we think. Anyway, for now, know that it was Choi who went to Dr. Han's secret lab and sent that videotape to the Prime Minister. You can find out many more details about this Choi who did such a thing later in the series. Let's see what those details are. So now, Dr. Han, while in prison, wonders who could have told the Prime Minister about him like this. Because the Prime Minister told Dr. Han that she received a videotape about him, but didn't know who sent it, therefore, at this moment, Dr. Han wonders who could have sent the videotape to the Prime Minister like that. But suddenly, Dr. Han remembers and thinks, then it must be you. Dr. Han is a psychopath. Psychopaths can reach conclusions very skillfully. Therefore, at this time, Dr. Han skillfully concludes that Choi must have done this. Not only that, but at this moment, the name of Detective Park's daughter escapes Dr. Han's lips. Actually, Choi is Detective Park's daughter. You can find out how that happened in a little while. So meanwhile, Bong-yi tells Baaram that Kumuchi went to prison for killing Jae-pil. Actually, Baaram doesn't believe that now. Baaram then comes to check Jae-pil's body. Upon checking the body, Baaram realizes this is an overkill. Meaning, even after death, the killer has damaged even the corpse. If Kumuchi needed to go to prison, there was no need to commit such an overkill. He could have just shot him once, killed him, and gone to prison. Therefore, Baaram realizes at this point that this is not a murder committed by Kumuchi. Baaram then checks the CCTV footage. While checking the CCTV, Baaram and Choi are both there at this moment. Both of them see Detective Park's wife going into the room where Jae-pil was admitted. Actually, what Choi sees now is that it was her mother who killed Jae-pil, so Choi gets scared at this moment. Meanwhile, we are shown Detective Park about to go to the police station with his wife. Because Detective Park knows very well that it was his wife who went and killed Jae-pil. Kumuchi came there and surrendered to the police, claiming he committed the murder. Now, Detective Park cannot keep that to himself. Detective Park is trying at this moment to take his wife to the police station and hand her over. At this time, Baaram takes Detective Park to a certain place. Now, Detective Park believes his daughter is dead. After finding body parts containing his daughter's DNA, Detective Park didn't believe it was his daughter. But those body parts have been buried in a certain place. It is to that place that Baaram takes Detective Park at this moment. As they approach the grave, Detective Park sees another man sitting there crying. Detective Park then goes and asks that man, "Why are you sitting here crying?" That man's name is Jang. At this moment, Jang tells Detective Park, "The person buried here is not your daughter, but my daughter." Now, I am about to explain what actually happened here. You remember Baaram and Choi checked the hospital's CCTV footage. At that time, both of them saw Detective Park's wife going into the hospital room where Jae-pil was admitted. But Baaram saw something else important. The man named Jung was also there. After seeing this man Jung, Baaram remembers one thing. You might remember from a previous episode, Baaram and Kumuchi went to question members of an anti-crime organization's business. Because Baaram and Kumuchi initially suspected a man from that organization named Hongchul regarding the ongoing serial killings. But through their investigation, they found out that Hongchul was not the serial killer. His father, Jae-pil, was the serial killer. This man Jung is one of the people working there. Jung is a good friend of Jae-pil, so at this time, from the CCTV, Baaram saw that this man Jung was also at the hospital. Therefore, Baaram becomes suspicious about this man Jung. After that, Baaram thoroughly investigates this man Jung. Then Baaram finds out that this man Jung had a daughter, the same age as Detective Park's daughter. Baaram finds out that along with Detective Park's daughter's disappearance, this man Jang's daughter also disappeared. After this, while looking for evidence related to Detective Park's daughter's disappearance, Baaram finds a type of hairband worn by little girls. You might remember, when Baaram went to Dr. Han's secret lab, he found a similar hairband there. Therefore, Baaram becomes suspicious at this point, wondering how two identical hairbands were found in these locations. It is after this that Baaram understands everything. Now, I will explain what really happened here. Jae-pil was a sub-inspector who worked with Detective Park years ago. Jae-pil already had a lot of anger and jealousy towards Detective Park, because in those days, the headhunter case that shook all of Korea was handled entirely by Detective Park. Since Detective Park publicly insulted the headhunter, or rather Dr. Han, came and kidnapped Detective Park's daughter and son. Detective Park's son's body was found the next day. Detective Park's daughter's body was missing at that time. But now you know that Detective Park's daughter is none other than Choi. At the time his daughter disappeared, Detective Park had informed the police about everything she was wearing, including her clothes and even her hairband. Therefore, after that, this man Jae-pil did something very cruel. Jae-pil wanted to bring Detective Park down. So Jae-pil killed his best friend's daughter, meaning Jang's daughter, because Jang's daughter and Detective Park's daughter were the same age. What Jae-pil did at this time was kill Jang's daughter, and before burying her, he took some strands of Jang's daughter's hair. He got a hairband identical to the one Detective Park's daughter was said to be wearing when she disappeared, attached those hair strands to that band, and handed it over to the police, claiming he found the band Detective Park's daughter was wearing when she disappeared. The police then, thinking it was Detective Park's daughter's hairband, kept it as evidence along with the hair. The police searched for Detective Park's daughter for years, but couldn't find any evidence about her after that. During those same days, this man John also tried to find his daughter, but John also couldn't find any evidence about his daughter. Years later, while digging a tunnel, a group found the body of a little girl. Therefore, the police suspected this must be the body of Detective Park's daughter. Then, what the police did was compare the DNA from the hairband she was said to be wearing at the time of disappearance with the DNA from the body they just found. From that, the police found that both DNA samples matched. But actually, the police thought at the time that these were parts of Detective Park's daughter's body. That is how Jae-pil tried to bring Detective Park down. Anyway, Jae-pil is currently in the hospital. Baaram beat him badly. After going there and questioning him, Jae-pil directly admitted that he killed Detective Park's daughter. Because Jae-pil was scared at that time to say that he killed his best friend's daughter. Anyway, because Jae-pil said that, when the body parts were exhumed again, Jung went there. Because Jung wanted to know if his best friend was such a murderer. When the body parts were taken out there, Jang saw with his own eyes parts of a necklace his daughter was wearing when she disappeared, mixed with those body parts. From that, Jung realized that these body parts belonged to no one else's daughter but his own daughter. After that, Jung realized that Jae-pil had killed his daughter. Then, wanting revenge for that, Jang went straight to the hospital to kill Jae-pil. As Jung tried to enter, two police officers were guarding there. But suddenly, Kumuchi made a call and told these two police officers, "There's a disturbance outside. Come quickly." Kumuchi did that so he could use that time to go there, kill the murderer Jae-pil, and go to prison. But actually, the person who used that time before Kumuchi was this man, Jung. Jung then used that time and went straight to Jae-pil. Going to Jae-pil, Jang asked, "So it was you who killed my daughter?" At that moment, Jae-pil said nothing but, "Forgive me." After he said that, Jang realized that this man had killed his daughter. Then it was Jung who stabbed and killed this man Jae-pil with a knife. It was after Jang killed Jae-pil like that Detective Park's wife arrived there. Then Jang fled from there. Detective Park comes there at this time looking for his wife. When he arrived there, what Detective Park saw was his wife standing near Jae-pil's body, holding a blood-stained knife. Therefore, Detective Park thought at this moment that it was his wife who killed Jae-pil. Then Kumuchi came there. Kumuchi then surrendered to the police, claiming he committed this murder. That is what actually happened here. By comparing the two hairbands and conducting a proper investigation, Baaram found out who the real murderer was. However, Detective Park still doesn't know that his daughter is Choi. Let's see if Detective Park will find out in the future that his daughter is Choi. But another question arises for you. Why is Choi still hiding from her mother and father? As I said before, Choi is a very secretive character. Let's see what we can find out about this in the future. Anyway, at this moment, the real killer of Jae-pil has been found. Therefore, Kumuchi, who is in prison, has to be released. Everything Kumuchi had planned goes wrong. Then we are shown Baaram currently at the police station. Baaram is drawing a picture at this time. Suddenly, this picture falls from Baaram's hand. After picking up the picture, Baaram sees that he has drawn a very violent picture. Meaning, Baaram has drawn a picture of one person murdering another without even realizing it. You already know anyway that a part of Sung Yo-han's brain is inside Baaram's brain. That's why things like this happen. Disturbed by that, Baaram then goes home. After Baaram goes home, Bong-yi comes to the police station looking for Baaram. But the police station says Baaram went home because he was feeling unwell. Then Bong-yi goes to Baaram's house looking for him. So meanwhile, before Bong-yi arrives at the house, Kumuchi comes, heavily drunk, to meet Baaram. Because Kumuchi is furious now, it was Baaram who ruined all of Kumuchi's plans. Because Baaram found the real killer, Kumuchi had to get out of prison. Then Kumuchi tries to attack Baaram at this moment. Now Baaram is also disturbed at this moment. Baaram then throws Kumuchi to the ground and starts hitting him. Meanwhile, Bong-yi is watching this real incident from the side. Anyway, that's how the 9th episode of this series, Mouse, ended. Will Baaram kill Kumuchi right there? Will Bong-yi be able to stop it? What kind of things will happen in the story beyond this point? I'll remind you again, if you still haven't subscribed to our Real Insight YouTube channel, don't forget to click the red button below right now, subscribe, and also click the bell icon next to it. Then let's meet soon with the 10th episode of this series.